Okay, I hope my recording device works this time. The last one died. You're just going to have to check the answers with me individually. The last one is a word problem with quadratics, which is pretty common because of gravity. Everything we do with gravity is a quadratic. So, the football player punts for football. He hopes for a long hang time, the amount of time the ball stays in the air, blah, 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 blah. Okay, any hang time of 4.5 seconds is usually good. Manuel is the punter for the high school team. He can kick the ball upward with a velocity of 80 feet per second. Foot meets the ball, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. They give you an equation. Okay, so we have this kid. He's going to kick the ball, and it's going to go up, and it's going to come back down. Every parabola situation is going to be like that. You're going to either go from the ground, or you're going to go from some kind of a platform. Like you might jump in the air. You might be diving, yay. You might be throwing something, it's going to hit the ground, okay? All you need is this equation. And when you have this equation, you can find, I'm not even reading the questions right now, I'm just going to find the stuff I know how to find, okay? I know how to find the vertex. Vertex negative b over 2a. So negative 80 over 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. I have a different calculator than you, so 80 divided by 32, 2.5. Okay, 2.5 seconds. So on my picture, 2.5 seconds is when we get to the biggest height that we can get to. If you plug 2.5 back in here, you can find that actual biggest height. So I'm going to do that. Negative 16, 2.5 squared plus 80 times 2.5 plus 2. I'm just finding everything I can find. Not even answering the question. So 2.5, 102. Get my picture better? Okay. And the other things I can find. What was it? How tall was it when we started, when time 0 happened? If I plug in 0, I get 0 plus 0 plus 2. That means it kicked from like a little height there of 2 feet. That's where it started. That's also known as the y-intercept. Okay? And the last thing is, what's the time when the ball hits the ground? So, I'm going to make a really rough sketch down here. I know I start at 2. I go up and I hit the ground. When I go up, this value is at 2.5 and I'm reached all the way up to 102. I have those things. Now I got to figure out, when do I hit the ground? Well, the height is 0 when I hit the ground. So 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 80t plus 2. This is a good time to use the quadratic formula. Plug these numbers in. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a right there. Plugging that stuff in. So the opposite of b, so negative 80 plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So that's negative 32. See what we get here. 6,400 minus negative 4 times, minus 4 times negative 16 times 2, 6528. So the square root of 6528 is 80.79. So if you're simplifying here, back down we have, jumping all around here, I realize that. I'm trying to get this before the computer dies. Negative 80 plus or minus 80.796 all over 32. All over negative 32. since A was there. Okay, so I plugged in quadratic formula. Now I'm going to simplify. Now I know I'm dividing by a negative, so the only answer I can use is when I get a negative up here. So I'm going to use the negative 80 minus 80.7796 divided by negative 32. So negative 80 minus 80.796 divided by negative 32, 5.02, 5 seconds. Now, my picture is complete. Should make sense. The maximum height happened at 2.5 seconds. Just a little bit more than 5 seconds would be where we hit the ground, because the maximum height is about halfway, because we're almost kicking off the ground. Now I can answer any question on this problem. And again, if there's only asking one question, you'd figure it out. But this is just so you can go through the whole thing with the quadratic. How long is the ball in the air when it reaches its maximum height? 2.5 seconds. What is the maximum height? 102 feet. The Vertex always tells you two answers. What is Manuel's hang time? In other words, how long before it hits the ground? 5.02 seconds. Got all the answers. Those are the things they always are going to ask you with quadratics.